Greetings and salutations. Welcome to this episode of Playwright Spotlight. Before we begin, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and share the show with a friend. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, be sure to leave a 5-star review and subscribe to the channel. My guest today is a currently Queens-based writer and teaching artist. She writes hyper-theatrical works in English, Hindi, and sometimes Bahasa Indonesia about living between cultural identities and contending with the ongoing legacies of colonization. She is the 2024 winner of the Los Angeles New Play Project Award and 2022 winner of the Brett Adams and Paul Reich Foundation's Ollie Award. New play developments include Theater Mew, Playwright Center, New York Theater Workshop, Roundabout, Mayi Theater Company, South Coast Repertory, Ensemble Studio Theater, Playwrights Realm, and Berkshire Theater Group, just to name a few. She is currently practicing in applied theater as an actor teacher with Cooney's Creative Arts team. She's a BFA in drama from New York University's Tisch and an MFA in playwriting at UC San Diego. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, God, I'm going to get this right, Ankita Raturi. Did I do it?
You did it. You did it.
Yay.
You nailed it.
So I have to ask, I'm going to start with this one just because I don't know what that means. Where did it go? It's the
Applied theater.
Yes. What is that?
What's applied theater? I love applied theater. Applied theater is just any use of theater in a practical purpose. So instead of making plays, not that plays aren't practical, but I use it primarily as a teaching artist. So I use theater to work with young people, students in New York City public schools on things like English language learning or social emotional learning or things like that. And it's just using a tool set that is based in theater and doing theater, but the goal isn't to make a play. So improv?
No,
not necessarily. We'll do improv for sure, but also a lot of it is based in Boal techniques and forum theater. So, for example, we'll create a scenario. I did a drama with a high school once that was about teen pregnancy, and we kind of like created a theatrical scenario around that to give young people a way to practice. Like, if you or one of your friends is in this situation, how would you manage it? How do we help you step into that role? A lot of it is like role-playing type stuff, or just like doing a play because it'll help you learn English, or what have you.
So you're just kind of like describing the situation. The situation, how would you handle it, kind of a thing?
Yeah.
I'm having flashbacks to high school because we used to do this thing called students reaching out. And it's like, hey, come on, let's kind of think of, and I'm not comparing these two by any means, but we'd go to the elementary schools and like, somebody approaches you and wants to offer you drugs. What's an alternative?
What are you going to say? Yeah.
Hey, rather than do that, why don't we go home and play video games?
Right. It's not that. It's just maybe a less after-school special version, where I think the young people that we work with really enjoy working with us and take us seriously because we take them seriously.
Okay. Yeah. I can respect that. So nothing's being written. You're not.
Sometimes, yeah. I'll write a lot of the dramas that we're doing, or we'll take in original stuff. A lot of it is more devising than writing because you're working with, I'm a playwright, but a lot of the people I work with are actors, and so we'll work together to create the drama that we're going to do with the young people. And
what age groups are you?
All age groups. The social emotional learning is a lot of like middle and high school. English is a lot of high school, but I've done a lot of stuff with elementary. I've done preschool. I've done truly every age group.
Do you find that some are more open to it, or do you find that like it's across the board everybody like really has a great time, or do you have a favorite group that you like to use? I
think once people know what we're doing, I think when we walk in, similarly to like you didn't know what applied theater was, I think when we walk into a school for the first time, like a lot of times people don't know what we're doing, and so there's like a hesitation there, and sometimes we're doing theater with people who are not necessarily like signing up to do a theater class, and so we have to convince them that it's fun and there's no pressure and that there's no like performance that they're going to have to do at the end of it. We're not going to make them get up in front of, a big group and share anything. And so it takes a second, but once they know what we're doing and we play all the games and kind of meet people where they're at, then everybody has a good time.
And are there? I mean, you mentioned a few of them, but I mean, what's the wide spectrum of subjects, and is there anything that's really kind of off limits?
What do you mean by subjects?
Like I don't know, things that are a little sensitive that maybe.
Oh yeah, we'll
aren't
go
appropriate.
anywhere. We'll go anywhere. I did a drama on teen pregnancy. We've done stuff on drugs for sure. We'll do things on like careers and like college readiness and things that are more, I don't know, like PG. But I also think a big reason that young people like working with us is because we'll go to places that their teachers normally won't, and we'll have conversations with them that teachers normally won't.
Do you find that once kids, like, they see it's like one or two of their classmates get up, then they're a little bit more open than they...
Oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, we are so silly, like, as a group, that I think that also makes a difference. Like, once we start doing something silly, like, or once we start doing our thing, I think that also encourages everyone. And everybody wants a voice. Everybody wants to be heard. So I think we're really just creating an opportunity for young people to not sit at their desk and be told to be quiet and sit still all the time. Sure. So it's always something that people are looking forward to.
Do you find it breeds their creativity?
I hope so. Yeah, I think it really does. And young people are so creative. And so like we'll do things that give them an opportunity to like share their ideas or share their take on something or do their own version of whatever we're doing. And yeah, the things that people come up with are amazing.
And how long have you been doing this?
I first started being a teaching artist in 2016, I would say, or yeah, 2015 maybe. But I really started doing applied theater, like not just making plays and using theater for other stuff a little later. Yeah, like 2017, 2018, but it's been a while.
And now when did what happened first? Doing the teaching artist or being a playwright?
I didn't realize that was such a hard question to answer. I did theater first. I definitely was in theater, and I did an undergraduate degree in theater and all this stuff, and I wanted to be a playwright, but I think I became a playwright alongside becoming a applied theater practitioner.
And that's the reason why I ask, because I want to know how doing applied theater has helped your playwriting.
Oh, hugely, hugely, hugely. I think one thing is that I am living in the world in a way that is really grounded and really open to everyone that's living in the world with me, and so it definitely influences how I understand people, and how I understand people informs how I understand characters. And then the other way I think is that applied theater shows you what theater can do beyond entertain. And that influences definitely what I write and how I want people to engage with what I'm doing.
Okay, and so unpack that, because what more that it can do. What give me examples.
Yeah, theater, I mean, can start conversations, or it can get people to return to conversations that they maybe left behind or felt like they didn't have anything to say about a topic, and so they decided, okay, that topic's not for me, but maybe it was. Maybe you did have something to say and you just thought that you didn't know enough, or you didn't have the right to talk about it, and maybe theater can open the door for you to continue a conversation that you left behind, or even have a new perspective on a conversation you've been having again and again and again, whatever that is. But I think that I don't think theater is going to change a person overnight, ever.
Sure.
But I always think it has the potential to shift someone or push someone forward or push someone in a new way. And applied theater definitely shows me that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So once you started writing,
yeah.
You mentioned earlier about it shows you it's giving you better insight into character.
Yeah.
How so, and then how do you apply that to your work?
yeah, I don't only work with theater people, and I don't only work with people that are interested in theater. I work with young people who are interested in every single topic, sport, hobby, subject under the sun. And so I try to make myself knowledgeable about a lot of things so that I can connect with them. And my friends, my family, like, is all over the map too. So I'm not only engaging with theater people, which I think is really, really important for someone that's writing about
yeah.
people that aren't necessarily telling stories. And so I just hear a lot and try to listen to a lot of perspectives.
Okay, but how do you apply that? And then once you have that, I mean, how does that apply to the characters that you
The characters
about?
I'm writing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of the characters I write are composites of people that I know, or things that I've heard people say. One of my professors at UCSD would always say that scene or that play or that character is well observed. And I really love that. I really took that with me, but well observed, like, oh, this is someone that is really believable and authentic because the writer or the actor or the director, whoever is like interpreting that character, and in my case, the writer, has really listened and observed the world, listened to the world and observed the world in a way that brings authenticity to the character. And so I think it allows me to write characters that sound the way people sound.
So is it just in their dialogue, or is it in their behaviors?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all of it. The dialogue, the behavior, the how long they pause, what makes them interrupt, whether or not they choose to say the thing on their mind at a given moment, what it takes to push them over the edge.
Do you decide that beforehand?
Before writing it?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Not me. Yeah.
Okay, I have two questions then.
Yeah.
Do you do a character breakdown before you start?
No, I don't.
Okay, so basically you basically just listen to your characters and learn as they're growing. They're talking to you as you write.
Yeah, I think sometimes I'll do like a writing exercise before I've written a ton of a play. Maybe I've written like a scene or two. I'll do a writing exercise around a character and try to get into them. Like, there are a lot of Maria and Fornes used to teach a lot of these kind of character-based exercises. And so, like, can you draw a picture of them? Can you, put them into a space, into a home? Like, what does their home look like? Other exercises that I picked up from other people around, like, just, that's okay. Other exercises around, what secrets they have or what keeps them up at night, just trying to kind of free write around a character. So I'll do that, but it's not really a character breakdown so much as trying to live into the character for a little while before writing a scene that they're in.
How many of those will you do before you sit down to write?
It varies. It varies depending on the character. I think for like the character that I'm starting with, a lot, and then the character that's talking to them, less. I don't know. It totally varies.
And that's not to say if you do these exercises, that's not to say that those things that come out are necessary. They don't necessarily make it into the play, but
most of them don't. Yeah, most of those things don't make it into the play. Maybe like a sentence or a phrase or something. Maybe one of them turns into a monologue that I actually really like and think is dramatically useful, but most of it, no.
Do you know when it's time for a monologue?
Does anyone know when it's time for it? It's usually not time for a monologue.
Yeah, I'm
it's usually, if you've got a monologue, you better have earned it. There'll always be a lot of monologues in a first draft for me. And then I think what tells me if it's time for a monologue is, 3, 4, 5 drafts in, a couple workshops in, or a couple readings in, like which one felt like I still wanted to listen to it the 5th time that I heard the play.
Expand on that.
most monologues are really boring. Most monologues are not really worth anybody's time. And so if I listen to actors read my play and the fifth time they've read it, they still really lean forward on that monologue, or the actor reading it still really finds layers in it or wants to try it again, like, that's worthwhile.
What's your first step when you decide, all right, I've got it? Obviously, I'm assuming you've got a premise that you want to get off the ground, and it's like, okay, this is what I'm going to write about. And then what?
First step into writing a new play.
Yeah.
Panic. Panic is the first step. I do a lot of research, and I think that's not every playwright's bag. But I'm a really dramaturgical writer. I'm a really I like to know as much as I can about a topic. I like to go down a rabbit hole. I love to get on a Wikipedia page and then click a link to something else and click a link to something else and click a link to something else. And my Chrome browser has folders for different topics or ideas or general buckets of rabbit hole, themes that I might go down with different things that I've saved over the years, honestly. Images, articles, what have you. And then trying to then distill that into, okay, what's the actual human story that connects to one part of this, or multiple parts of this, and what's the theatrical way into that? What's the story of both a person, but also what's interesting to look at, what's interesting to live inside of sonically, visually. Because in theater we get to really be in the space with the story.
Right.
And so what part of this excites me about being live with an audience, with a stage?
So are these topics you automatically search out, or are these things that something might pop up as this is interesting, I need to know more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think depends. I think there's some things that I'm really perpetually preoccupied with, and I will always be looking into in some fashion. I'm really preoccupied with British colonization of India. That's just my own history, and so anything that comes up about that, I am going to be drawn to. I'm really preoccupied with language and multilingual lives. My life is multilingual. Most people's lives are multilingual. Sure. And so I'm really fascinated with how that happens and how that appears in the world. I'm really preoccupied with intergenerational dynamics, especially in families that have kind of lived in multiple places. And so how, generations intersect with geographies.
Right.
So those are things that keep coming up, and I'm constantly looking at. And if there is some kind of a new story or a topic or a historical event that I didn't know about that relates to one of those, I'm oh, I want to know everything about that. And then sometimes it's just totally random, and I can't explain it.
So, are these, when you write, are you necessarily writing about international situations? But I guess what I'm trying to say, being a New York-based playwright.
Yes.
Is there still an audience? Well, that doesn't really apply to me. Or do you write to where, hey, look, this is happening here, but it applies here as well?
Oh, I see. Yes, I think that I'm looking for, and I tend to be writing things that are really specific, specific kind of stories and specific people, specific contexts, but that I'm looking for the humanity in those stories, and so that becomes universal by nature. There's very little universality in a generic character, and there's a lot more universality in a specific character. And so the specific people I'm interested in tend to be, bilingual or multicultural or immigrant or children of immigrants or what have you. Mm-hmm. But the story I'm telling about them tends to resonate with people beyond those experiences.
So if you write something that's bilingual, a character that's bilingual.
Yeah, often I do.
Okay. So in that regard, how does that work for the people in the audience that may not speak that language?
The same way it works for people who move here, they don't speak English, and they still watch English TV shows, and they still go to English plays, and they figure it out, and they kind of understand what's going on because the acting is good or because the direction is good, or, you shouldn't have to, I think, this is maybe a personal thing, but I think that you should be able to close your eyes and understand a play, and you should be able to close your ears and understand a play. And so it shouldn't matter that you don't understand every single word that's being said. It should matter that you still go on a full journey despite that.
Sure. Yeah.
And so people sit in my audiences, and I love this, having endless different experience. And that's true of any play, right? Any play, every audience member comes to a play with their own set of experiences. And so even if the play is entirely in English and everybody in the audience is English speaking and English understanding, every person in that audience is still having a completely different experience because of who they are and how they showed up that day. And like whether or not they, faced traffic before, or whether or not their train was late, like those things matter, and those things we bring with us as we come into an audience. And so I think the same thing applies on maybe a more macro scale to language, and you can really see those things appear where people that are watching my plays will have one experience if they only speak English, another experience if they speak both English and Hindi, in the case of the play that I'm working on right now, and a whole different experience if they are more comfortable with Hindi than with English. And there's all those experiences existing at the same time.
Sure.
My favorite thing is I did a 10-minute play several years ago that was in Hindi and English, and there were people in the audience who spoke Hindi or Urdu and understood that part of the play, and they would kind of like elbow their neighbor and be like, that's what this meant, or like someone, like a bunch of people in the audience would laugh, and somebody who didn't understand the language would be like, what did they say, what did they say? And I love that. I think like the audience is so alive in those moments and so engaged with every moment of the play. I think it's so fun when like half the audience gets to laugh at something and the other half gets to just enjoy that other people enjoyed that.
Sure. Yeah, there was a play that I went and saw where I think that half the audience was Spanish. They were bilingual too, on top of it. But then the character used a certain phrase, but it was a break. There was a lot of breaking in the fourth wall.
Yeah,
and used a certain phrase, and like, if there's anybody around there that you know that they don't know what this means, look around and let them know what it was.
So let people into this part of this experience. I think I'm trying to invite people into, I don't know, a bilingual way of living life, which I think is how most people live their lives.
Sure, 100%.
Yeah.
And the reason why I asked is I wasn't sure, because there are those generational things.
Yeah.
Where there is the, so I wasn't sure if it was one of those things where like, okay, it's the younger sibling. It's the child, and then there's the parent. The parent doesn't speak very much English. Probably, in this instance, speaks a lot of Hindi. So they might say something, and then the kid will respond in English to give context as the audience member. This is what.
Right. No, it's not like that. It's not. It's really not like that. I get actually. So in this play, it's a mother and a son, and they both speak English, but the mother is really hoping and wants her son to speak Hindi too. And he's about to go to college, and her kind of window of having full access to his life is coming to a close. And so she's at the point where like he really needs to take ownership of if he's going to speak Hindi or not as an adult. And that's where we meet them. And so they both speak English, but she really wants him to speak Hindi. And I personally get really frustrated with storytelling where the English exists to contextualize the other language.
Right. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, it really bothers me, actually. To, like, be watching a play where there's another language is so exciting and so rich, whether or not I understand it. But then to have the English lines constant, like, to an extent, you do want that. You do want to, like, let people in to the experience of the characters. But if we can do that without having the response to a question be a translation, I prefer that, because nobody actually lives their life that way. Nobody actually, like, if you understand a language, you respond as you would respond. You don't respond in a way that also tells somebody else listening what the question was.
Do you give at least... I'm trying to figure out the correct way to phrase this. I mean, is there like enough body language or
I hope so. I hope that the actors are doing a good job telling you what they're saying without you necessarily understanding the words. But with that said, I mean, in this play, there's not a ton of Hindi. It's not like 50-50. I would say it's like 80-20. Other plays have more. The 10-minute play I was talking about before is a lot more Hindi Urdu than it is English, honestly. But this play is a lot more English than it is Hindi.
How do you go about finding directors for these? Especially ones that might be all Hindi.
Yeah, I mean, if it's all Hindi, I think probably the director should probably speak Hindi. But
sure,
the director of this play, Lily Tong Crystal, she's the artistic director of East West Players right now. And she doesn't speak Hindi. She speaks Mandarin. So
they're very similar.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Totally the same. No, but she understands the comedy of the play. She understands the tension at the heart of this question of whether or not your child will speak the language that you grew up with. And that's what matters a lot more than whether or not she actually understands the literal words. We gave her a translation, right? There's a dramaturg on the play who, translated the Hindi for her so that she knows what it is. But that's less important in shaping the narrative that we're presenting than somebody who can, direct a comedy and direct something that is fast-paced and fun and make sure that, everyone's set up for success on doing that can understand what lies at the center of the tension between these two characters. And she totally gets that, like her mom was an immigrant, and she has that experience of being a child of an immigrant. She also is a mom and totally gets that experience of like being a mom of a teenage son and feeling that deadline coming of like when you're not going to have as much access into your kid's life. And so that's a lot more important in that situation than like the specific language. I do think it's important that she is bilingual, and I think it's important that the director of a bilingual play be bilingual, even if it's not the same language, because you understand that experience of living in two languages.
Yeah. So, what about the dramaturg?
Yeah. So the dramaturg for the play is Arnab Banerjee. He's a professor at Loyola Marymount. And he's great. He's also a parent. He speaks Hindi and he speaks Bangla and he
That's why I'm asking,
speaks English. Yeah. But he's he's there for support. He's there more so, I think, to provide some cultural context for the audience more than anybody else.
Okay.
Because the actors are all South Asian, right? Like, they are all from this community. They don't need cultural, support on the play.
Well, that's why I'm asking, because if you can have the translation, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you still don't know how to say, like, if, well, thank God that the rest of the cast is. So, I mean, I'm just looking at, like, how do you problem solve and troubleshoot things like, that if your director doesn't speak Hindi, and then maybe the dramaturg doesn't either, it's like, now what? Unless you're always
does.
there.
The dramaturg does. I'm also in the room. I
Okay.
exist.
No, of course, and you should be there.
Yeah. World premiere. So yeah, I'm there, and it's, I think, like, easier than it seems. Maybe.
How much in this? You open when? Remind me.
We are opening on Saturday.
And forgive me because I should have had that in the
That's okay.
in the introduction. I should have had that.
Let me do a little,
Yes,
a quick little. The play is called in English it's called Neha Neel. In Hindi it's called Neha Neel. And it opens at the LA Theater Center on Saturday, October 18th. And directed by Lily Tung Crystal, produced by Artists at Play, which is this beautiful Asian American theater company here in Los Angeles, and then in collaboration with the Latino Theater Company, which owns and operates the LA Theater Center.
Yes, they do.
We have a beautiful cast, a beautiful design team. The set is gorgeous. There are 3 members of the cast. Ankita Raturi playing Neil, he's the son. Pia Shah playing Neha, she's the mom. And then Parvesh Gina, who is one of the most hilarious people I've ever had the pleasure of working with, is playing, I think it's, at last count, 16 different characters.
Wow.
That they meet along their journey.
Why that many?
Why that many? Well, it's a 90-minute play. There's enough time for that many. No, I think it's just trying to capture all the different types of, people that you might meet on a journey across America. They're all South Asian, so it's all the South Asian people you might meet on a journey across America. People who speak Hindi, people who don't, people who are from India, people who are from other parts of the South Asian subcontinent, people who are from there kind of like recently, people who have been born and raised in America, people who've been here, their families have been here for generations, people who are doctors or people who are gas station attendants, people who are, working on the airlines, people who are at the college you might attend, every type of person that I can fit into 90 minutes.
So why the choice to have one person tackle that opposed to like 4 different people?
Oh, it's so fun this way. Parvesh gets to really, it's such a marathon for that actor, but I think it's really exciting. I think it is really exciting, and the actors who have done it so far in either readings or workshops or when I was working on the play at UCSD or Parvesh in this world premiere have really enjoyed tackling that and have really been excited about it. And I love to write a role that an actor is excited to do.
Well, I imagine it's got to be just as much fun for the audience once they realize it.
I hope so. Yeah, that's definitely the goal.
I mean, this is not a comparison by any means, but there's a similar thing that happens in, I don't know if you've ever seen 39 Steps.
Yes, I have. I am by no means the first person to have an actor play, a marathon of roles.
No, by all means, but that's what it is, and there is that fun as an audience member.
Yeah.
Watching, in this case, it's 2 actors.
Yes.
Playing all these different roles, and it's just oh my god,
thrilling.
Yeah. So.
You feel. I mean, I watched the 39 Steps when I was in high school, I want to say, and it really stuck with me, actually. Probably, maybe in a subconscious way now that you're mentioning it. I wasn't thinking about it writing this play, but it has stuck with me, so maybe subconsciously. But you feel that energy. It's frenetic for you as an audience member. You go with these actors and you kind of feel like, wow, I'm out of breath just watching this.
Sure, yeah.
And that's thrilling.
So you set out, this was a playwright choice. It wasn't a directorial decision. Somebody was like, hey, look, why don't we just make this one person? You set out when you wrote this.
No, I set out when I wrote this. Part of that is I was in grad school when I started writing this play, and I went to UCSD for my MFA in playwriting, and it was, the people I got to work with there were all just fantastic people, and it was an incredible community. But it's a small community. It's there aren't a lot of MFA students at one time, and I was the only South Asian person in the MFA, whether playwriting or acting or stage management, directing, design, the entire MFA, like anything you could get an MFA in or a PhD in that program. For the time that I was there have been others since I left, but for the time that I was there, I was the only South Asian person there. And so the people who I worked with to develop the play while I was in grad school, 2 of them were undergrads, fantastic undergrads, like really, really wonderful actors who are still acting. And a community theater actress from the San Diego community, and she was also great. But we, the university agreed to hire her on so that I could do that. Wow. But a little bit, it was, that's who was there, and thank God they were there, and thank God that I got to work with them. But that was it.
How much playwriting did you do before you started?
Before grad school? Yeah, after college, and I recommend this to everybody, but after college I took 5 years to just like be in the world and make my own work. And sure. I did like a 1-year fellowship at Berkeley Rep. I was the literary dramaturgy fellow for a year. I don't think that position even exists anymore, but that was amazing. And then other than that, I was producing my own stuff. And at the time, I wasn't totally sure that I wanted to full-time pursue playwriting. And so I thought I might want to be a dramaturg. I thought I might want to devise. I thought I might want to work in theater admin. So I kind of took a lot of time to do all of those things and try them and struggle and self-produce in New York and in Berkeley. And decided that I really wanted to be a playwright. And then I applied to grad schools. And so I had written plays in that time and like worked on them as a writer, but I also did all these other things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So from when you wrote prior to doing, what did you learn? What's the difference? What really changed in your writing from
pre-grad school to post-grad school?
Or even midst grad school?
Yeah. I really got to focus so much more of my energy on writing when I was in grad school. And so I think there's stuff that comes just from practice, just from doing it more and more and more and more. And then I really got to strengthen my craft. And I got to work with people that were just as dedicated to strengthening their craft. And so that was the really magical thing, is like we all, wanted to be excellent. And so I really got to make a lot of mistakes and learn from them and push the form forward. Okay. I always knew what I wanted to say. I guess grad school helped me figure out how to say it. But I'm still figuring that out, honestly. I think I got to write a lot, and I wrote some plays that I'm really proud of, and I learned what I was missing and what I needed to go get.
Was there any magic you discovered? And what I mean by that, where it was just why didn't I know that prior? Why am I just now learning this? Wow. You know what I mean? Or any habits that you're oh God, I can't believe I've been doing this. That was.
I will say that there's a discipline that I had in grad school that I've since lost, and that I'm desperate to get back for myself of just how much I could write every day, that the constraints of life don't allow for necessarily as much, but also that's in some ways very much an excuse. And I could find more time to write every day things that I'm not going to put in a play. Things that are just helping me stay sharp, stay muscular. It's like working out, right? If you stop working out, you're gonna not be as fit. And I want to stay fit in my writing, so I was really fit in grad school.
And what do you think changed that made you stop?
Life, bills.
Okay.
Money, but also I have a chronic illness, and so I've been sick for a while too, and so there's that happens, that gets in the way. But it's still if I were dealing, I was dealing with chronic illness. I've been dealing with chronic illness since I was 15. it is what it is. But when I was in grad school, I could focus on being healthy and I could focus on writing. And then when I'm not in grad school, focusing on being healthy also comes with focusing on a job, also comes with focusing on, you know, rent and things like that. And then the writing, you know, if you can do it.
So I'm just going to ask, and I don't want no comments from the, because you don't know where I'm going with this. You think that you do. Anyways, there's a book called, I was just looking at the audience. That's why I'm looking at the camera. So if they're watching, not listening. There's a book. Are you familiar with Stephen Pressfield?
Not really.
There's a great book called The War of Art. All right. So he talks about resistance, which is not where I'm going with this. But you
is that a place you usually go?
Where?
Resistance?
Well, yes, because when it comes to not writing,
Yeah.
Stephen Pressfield talks about resistance in the act that we're going there.
It's my fault. I asked the question.
So
where are you going?
Exactly. So he makes the point that there's this thing called resistance, that we will do everything but sit down and write.
Yeah.
We'll do the dishes. We'll check email.
Yeah.
We'll do all the things that we wouldn't normally want to do anyways. But when
100% I'm guilty of that.
And so this is where I was going to go. So the other thing that somebody made a point of once, it's like, you say, I don't have time. I don't have time.
Yeah.
Right? And
you do. You have time.
Because guess what? If a pipe burst in your house, guess what?
You would make the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I was going. So,
no, and I do make the time, but it is kind of like, and that's why I said my first step is panic.
Sure. Okay.
And if a pipe bursts in your house, I think, you know, you got to be good in a crisis.
Sure.
If I feel urgent about what I'm writing, I'll make the time.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the other thing is when you, going back to your gym analogy, right?
Yeah.
Is that when you stop for a while, it's really hard. But once you start back up, you start looking forward to it.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
You get to those points where it's just like, I got to stop because I can't. I don't have anything left. I don't have the fuel. My sponge is full and I can't.
Right.
And then it's just like, all right, well, I'm done. And then you step away. Like if you go to bed, if you write at night and you go to bed, and then the wheels are still turning, and you can't.
You can't turn them off.
And then it's like, and then the ideas pop. I got to get back I got to start back up again. So it's like getting back to that gym, that mental gym. If you will.
I really relate to this nighttime thing, though. Even without the gym, my brain turns so fast at night. Even just a couple of nights ago, I woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and wrote something down.
Well, yes.
And then, you know, was like, oh, I think this will work better with one person for a completely different play. And I should really try to write a whole draft where this is one person the entire time.
Right.
And that might be wrong, but I think I need to do it. And I feel urgent about it, and enough to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and make a note.
So is that a pad by your bed or an iPad or?
It's my phone. It's bad. My phone is right by my bed.
Now, I already know the answer, but you will write it. You will write any ideas that come up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
You will write down, right? No matter what, right?
If not right away, I'll usually try to make myself go back to sleep first, and if I can't, then I'll write it down.
I wanted to make a point, and I can't make that point now.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You were supposed to agree with
I was
the
supposed to
statement.
say yes. No, but I really don't. And I think that it's because not every idea is good. And so I think that, like, if I have an idea, I got to let myself let it go. And then if it keeps coming back, then I know that I have to spend some time on it. But if I can let it go, then I didn't need it in the first place.
Here's where I will push back on that. And the
Okay,
reason
can't
being
wait.
is because, and you may be one
I
of the.
love to argue. I can't wait. Let's go.
I'm about to turn the camera and ask if this is true.
It is true.
Okay. He's not
He
going to say anything.
He also loves to argue.
Okay,
So.
fair enough, as long as it's mutual. The reason why I was going to say that is because I will have those ideas, and I do not write them down. I'm like, I'll remember in the morning.
And then you won't.
Because you don't remember in the morning, unless you're one of those rare people that can,
Yeah. But then was it that important?
Yes, because I've come up with some brilliant ideas that I didn't write down. I'm like, that
But
was
how
so
do you
good.
know? Because you didn't write them down.
Because I was stubborn, thinking it was so brilliant. That's my ego getting in my way, saying that I'm going to remember this, and you never, ever do.
I think if it was a really good idea and something that you were super preoccupied with and something that like you really needed to write, you would have thought of it again.
Let this be a lesson to you guys, all right? So I want to get into another thing that you brought up, and that's self-producing.
Yeah.
So, and where were you doing that?
New York primarily, yeah.
How is that in New York? Because it's
horrible.
It's already hard to do it here in LA.
Awful. Self-producing sucks. It's so important. We all should do it.
I agree.
If you find that you love it, like, please be a producer. It's really hard. It's really hard, and it's really takes everything out of you.
Yeah.
But you learn a lot, and you understand the process better, and you understand what other people are doing. When you get to the point that you can focus on your little part of the process, you understand what everybody else is doing because you've had to contend with all of it at some point. And I think that is important. I think that generates a lot of empathy and goodwill and leads to better collaboration.
Yeah.
But it is all-consuming and horrible.
You were self-producing your own work.
Yeah, I was self-producing. It was mostly actually I was working with a really, really good friend of mine who's a director, Charlotte Murray, who lives in New York, and we would make things together. And she's primarily a director, I'm primarily a writer, but we would be devising things together. And so like it was both of our ideas that we were trying to like put together a couple different things that we did. And then my own stuff, just like trying to put together readings or what have you. And then I was producing other people's stuff too, because I was trying to see if I liked producing, and the answer is no, I do not.
And that's kind of what I asked as well, is because when you were self-producing your own work, and I think I already know the answer because you brought up your collaborator who was mainly directing.
Yeah.
So you weren't directing your own work as well.
Not really, no. I've never solely directed anything that I've written. I've co-directed things that I've co-written.
Okay.
Which is really just devising.
Do you act in your own work?
So far, no. I have one play that if I ever finish it, is designed for me to act in. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if that actually ever happens. But mostly I stick to playwriting.
Did you fund your own funding, or did you fund it yourself when you were self-producing, or did you?
No, I did not fund it myself. I had no funds. It was fundraising.
And what did you do?
I mean, this is years ago. It was the time of like, GoFundMes and Kickstarters and things like that. I mean, not that those don't exist, but I think like a lot of people did that for theater at the time. We would, have parties, and for one thing that I did, it was a festival with like 3 or 4 things, and they hosted a fundraising event that we would all contribute to, and then like split the funds from it. And so it was like there were baked goods, and there were, like a raffle where you could win, a date with this actor or whatever. I remember for a project, I wasn't the writer on this project, but I was helping to produce it. We had someone on the team who was also a photographer, and so we auctioned off headshots,
right? Yeah.
Because most of our friends were actors, and so we were like, "What will you pay for?" Maybe headshots.
Sure. Yeah.
And so we auctioned off like low cost headshots with this photographer that was on the team. Yeah, I think signed playbill. I mean, just things that nobody really needs too. We're part of the package on things. I don't know. It's been a while since I've done anything like that, though.
No, but it's just because I'm a fan of self-producing.
Yeah.
I think that it should be done. I think
you're doing it now.
Well,
here you are, self-producing. Yeah. I commend you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. But so when I was staging things, it's like I think it's a lot more accessible than people realize. That's why I'm a big proponent of self-producing, because especially with younger kids or younger
Yeah.
playwrights or younger anybody's.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you know people in tech, you know directors, you know actors,
Yeah.
so you know.
Yeah, if you know your community and you know what will bring them to the table, then yeah, it's totally accessible. And I mean, I also think that like we're at a time now where people are really craving intimate live experiences again. Like people are getting kind of sick of social media and sick of the like constant online everything and want to be, you know, live in space with people. And so I've heard a lot of my friends and a lot of theater people talking about making really small shows again, making shows that happen in somebody's apartment or on a rooftop, or, you know, a show for 2 audience members, a show in a taxi, I think was something that like happened recently that I thought was so cool. A show on the phone, you know, like there's so many models for creating theater that are not, here's a proscenium stage with, you know, 100 seats and you have to figure out a way to find the money to rent the theater and find the money to, you know, rent the lights and find the money to get enough things to create a set or paint it or what have you. And you can do that. You can do that. You can fundraise. You have to understand that like the producing is going to be the biggest part of your job on those. Like the thing that takes the most time is the funding of it all. But yeah, you can totally do it. And you can also make something that, you know, happens in a garden and do it in a real garden. And you don't need to rent a theater to do that.
No, 100%. I guess what I'm saying is you can do that. There's a great other avenues to go through as well. But and I think the one thing that people have a tendency to forget is even if you have family members that can loan you a few bones, you know. But the great thing about theater is you can hopefully maybe break even. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Right.
Not necessarily going to, you know, make a profit, but hopefully, fingers crossed, you can break even.
Put your own skin in the game.
Yeah, you know.
I haven't done that, and I can't say that I recommend it only because not everybody has, you know, the bones to put into the game, and I want it to be something that anyone can, you know, decide to do from any financial background, you know. And if you're lucky enough where, you know, you can put some money into something and then try to break even on it, like good for you and please go for it. And if you're not, it's okay and still go for it. And like there are other avenues that are available.
Agreed.
Yeah.
However, you and I will probably also have a tendency to you'll probably think New York, and I'm thinking LA, and you know what I mean. But there are those smaller markets that people would, you know, where it's a little bit more, it's not as expensive. It's not, you know, $1,200 to $2,000 a weekend or even a night. Yeah. You know, to where like, I can't afford that. I'm sorry. You know.
There's the whole country to think about for sure.
Yeah. So, you know, just in case there's anybody listening that's outside of New York or LA listening to this.
I hope so. That'd be amazing.
We actually have some listeners in Africa.
Wow.
I recently discovered, It's kind of nice,
Wow. Maybe you'll get some from India this time.
Maybe, fingers crossed. We better.
I mean, I have a lot of family in India, so if nothing else, they'll listen and they'll learn about my American accent.
Do they not know it yet?
No, of course they do. But
I was gonna say.
No, they do. But I have when I'm in India, I have an Indian accent.
Then I expect my next question.
Nope, you don't have an Indian accent. I can't just pull it out like that. But when I talk to people with a certain accent, my voice changes depending on who I'm talking to. 100%.
I wish I had something written in Hindi that I could just hand over to you.
Why?
Because I want to. Maybe I want a lesson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You want to learn a curse word? I'll teach you a curse word.
Can we do that on air? I mean, people cuss on this.
That's a really great question. You tell me. It's you're the producer.
Yeah, I always tell people. They always ask, and I'm like, yeah.
You didn't quite do it just then. You did that under your breath.
I did. Well, I can edit myself. You know, don't. We started.
Okay. I see. Okay, maybe I'll hold off because you don't.
No, I want to hear it.
You don't seem totally there with the.
Here's what we can do. Why don't you say it, and then you can tell me what it means after.
Ooh.
And then
And then the Hindi speakers get their own little. I like that.
Yes,
Okay.
and then everybody else has to go and look it up.
Okay, my favorite curse word in Hindi is behenchud.
One more time.
Behenchud.
I have an idea what that might be, but I'm not going to say it. I'll wait. Okay, so this is what I want to know, because we kind of you were kind of going into it, and I really want to know, during this rehearsal process, have there been many changes?
Not this time. Not during this rehearsal process. I did a lot of changes. We had a workshop last year. Artists at Play produced a workshop of this, and so I got to really get into the text at that time, and that was great. And I did a lot of what I wanted to do on the play in that week, and then since then, since we started rehearsals, I have definitely made changes. We've made some line changes and a few new pages here and there, but it's been pretty minimal, actually. It's been like, thankfully, because of, having the opportunity to really do this play in grad school and then the opportunity to workshop it before the production, knowing that we were going into production. I got to do that work.
Where did you find the opportunity to have a workshop of it done?
It's the same, Artists at Play.
Okay.
Yeah. Artists at Play is a theater company that has really, I think, championed me specifically in ways that I'm so lucky to have them in my corner. They commissioned me several years ago to write a play, and then they, ever since that commission, have been like coming to see my work or asking about it. And so they saw this play at UCSD and approached me about it and told me they wanted to do a workshop. And pretty much while we were like, even before the workshop, they were like, and we're really interested in producing it. And so when we did the workshop, I already kind of had an idea that they wanted to do it, and so I was working towards that with them.
So as we were going through your bio and all the opportunities that...
I know it sounds really impressive when you read it all out like that, but it's it's a funny thing to live it.
So how are you finding these opportunities?
I don't know if I can. I mean, what are they? Some of them are applications that are like open calls that I've submitted to. Some of them I was nominated for once people started, once you get a couple things and people start to know who you are and start talking about you. And so some of them I was nominated for them. Some of them were like invitations.
Like Ma Yi Theater Company.
Ma Yi Theater Company, I applied to, it was an open call for, was it an open call? I see, and now I don't remember. Oh, yes. Okay. No, it wasn't. It was, I was invited to apply. Okay. So I did apply, but I was invited to apply for their kind of new iteration of their writers lab. Ma Yi is an Asian American theater company in New York. They're huge. And they used to have the biggest Asian American writers group in the country. And that became so large that it became untenable. And so they reimagined it, because what they used to do is they used to invite a group of writers to join the group, and all the existing writers would remain in the group. And so it just kept growing and growing and growing and growing, which was really, really cool for, I think, the Asian American theater community to see the kind of breadth of different writers who are making work, and for those writers to have community with each other. I know some of the writers that were in that iteration of the group, and they've always talked about like how much of a lifeline that community was. But I think it just got really big, and so they reimagined it after the pandemic.
That's a good time to do it.
I know. After, I should say, after the kind of lockdown phase of the pandemic.
No, exactly. No, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. So after the lockdown phase of the pandemic, they kind of reimagined what that could be. And it was also at a time when the Lark had just closed in New York, which was like a really important institution for new plays. And they had a bunch of different programs. And so Ma Yi modeled a writers lab, a new edition of their writers group, after one of the Lark programs that had kind of had to be sunsetted because the Lark is, RIP. And so it's a really cool thing that I got to do with them, but it was like it was like 6 months, and I got to do they invited Asian American writers to apply. Somebody who had been in the first version of that, kind of who knew me and knew that I was a writer, knew that I was living in New York, kind of put my name on some list. And they invited me to apply, and it was 6 months, and it was writers and directors and actors. And so it was a writers group where you got to really try things on their feet, which is really rare and really important, because, that's the point, right? Like we're not writing novels. We're trying to write things that will get embodied. And so
when you say on their feet, are they off book, or are they with scripts in hand?
With pages,
okay.
Yeah. So you bring in maybe, like, let's say you bring in 10 pages or 15 pages of something that you're working on, and it gives you the chance to try out something that, like, is really rough.
Sure.
And have a couple actors actually read it. They're holding a script in their hand, but there's a director there being like, okay, can you try this like this? Can we, stand on different sides of the room? Can you, do this like basic blocking and see what that does to the text? And you can sit there in the room and be like, okay, I'm going to change that line and let's try it again. Or I'm going to come in next month with the same scene, but I'm going to have rewritten it based on what I learned, and we're going to try it again and stage it again. And that's a really special experience. So that was my year. I was invited to apply, and then I applied, and then they invited me into that group.
What advice do you have for emerging playwrights that want to seek out some of these opportunities?
I would say, and this is advice that I have to give myself all the time too, so I know it's easier said than done, that, like, if you get a rejection, like, keep applying to the same things. Mm-hmm. If you know that they're right for you, if you know that opportunity is going to help you or something, like, don't only apply to things that you've never applied to, right? Like, if you don't make it the first time that you apply to something, apply again. Like, and be aware, I think, that a lot of the readers for a lot of these things are the same people, even if they're different opportunities. Right. And so people will start to, like, the more you apply to things, the more your name is on people's minds. And so people start to remember you from that other thing that you applied to that they wish you had gotten, but it wasn't up to them. So now they can push you forward in this application. Like, people still are rooting for you, even if you don't get positive feedback. A lot of times you get no feedback, and you just got to keep going if you really want to. And then I would also say, like, apply to things that are actually right for the play that you're applying with. Don't just apply to every single opportunity.
I was going to bring that up as well. But you were also saying reapply, but not necessarily with the same piece.
No, not with the same, not necessarily. Right. And a lot of them will specifically say don't reapply with the same piece, because they won't read it if it's the same piece. But that, if you're a writer, if you have something to say, if you're at it and you're committed to this, profession, don't assume. I guess it's so easy to think that, like, a theater company or a new play development organization doesn't like you because they didn't, give you this opportunity, and it's not true. Right. So yeah, keep doing it. A lot of places actually will talk about how, people apply 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and they finally have the opportunity to invite someone that they've wanted to invite for 3 years in a row. Sure. Yeah. The third year, it finally, the pieces fall in place for, like, that play, that year, that budget, whatever. There's so many things going on. Yeah, don't write a group off because they didn't give it to you the first time, and don't apply if you don't have something that isn't right for that actual thing.
Right. I'm glad that you said that because so I did a noir series for 7 years. Mm-hmm. All film noir styled one act plays. Mm-hmm. And we brought it back. We're supposed to bring it back, and it was supposed to be next month. Unfortunately, the venue that we were going to do is still under renovation. It's not going to be open yet. Oh. So that's, but.
Yeah. The trials and tribulations.
Exactly, yeah. But still, I cannot tell you, even this go round, how many pieces. No, we had 160 submissions. Yeah. However, there were so many. I'm like writing notes, not noir, not noir, not noir.
Right.
Make sure that you know what you're applying to and that you're right at sending something in.
Yeah.
It's just...
I will say, and this is a bit of a personal soapbox for me, but I will say that I also wish that the institutions and the organizations that are putting out these open calls would be really clear about what it is that they actually are looking for. Like, if you're saying you're looking for noir and it says noir, that's great, because then I know that the play that I'm trying to develop right now isn't that. I'm not submitting it. But so many opportunities will say things like, we're looking for emerging playwrights, without defining what they mean by emerging. Or that they are looking for plays that need development, when what they're actually looking for is a play that's one step away from being production ready. Or that they're looking for your best piece of writing, when what they're really looking for is your first draft. And I really wish that and encourage institutions and organizations that have these opportunities and these resources to give to artists to be really, really clear about what they are looking for, so that on my end and the artist end, you don't waste someone's time. I also think that they shouldn't charge submission fees, because it's crazy to expect someone to pay to submit to get resources.
I'll comment about that in a second.
And I also think that applications should be as easy to complete as possible. I really wish also that the kind of short answer questions would be like a second round of an application rather than a first round of an application, when you're already in. I think that all applications should be, here's my play, or here's 20 pages of my play. And then if you want to hear more from me, then send me your short answer questions. But if you read 20 pages of my play and you're already not interested because it's not right for you at this time, then I don't need to spend time writing about my goals for that play.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And those are the questions I want. Sorry, I should have been more specific. Should have been more specific in my guidelines of that question.
Yeah.
Examples of the questions, or the I want to say prerequisite of them accepting or reading your play even, and I'll go into that.
Right. I think that an application, and what are your goals with this play is a totally valid question. I think it's an important question, and it's one that's easy for me to answer as a playwright, because I do know what my goals are for a play. I do know what I need.
What your goal is. Your goal is to get it produced. I don't think it gets any more simple than that.
Often it is the goal, but I think in terms of development, right? I know that this play needs design support, or I know that this play needs a reading where I can really do it bilingually, or I know that this play really needs a reading where I can focus on this dramaturgical question. I do know the answer to that question. And so I can answer that simply. That's not hard. But if you want me to answer a short answer question about where I am in my career and how this opportunity is going to change my life, it's because you're going to give it to me and I'm going to be known, or it's because you're going to give me money and I'm going to finally be able to afford to write this play, and I'm going to be able to quit my day job for a few weeks and focus on the text. It's not going to be that deep, and you want it to be deep, and that's a waste of your time reading it and a waste of my time writing it.
Agreed.
Asking how my play explores conflict, if that's important to you. All plays should be exploring conflict. So why are we writing a college app essay? I really think a lot of applications make the mistake of reading college applications, and writing a good personal essay is not the same as writing a good play. And someone who writes a good personal essay may not write the best play, and someone who writes a really good play may not write a good personal essay about it.
Sure, 100%, yeah.
And so, let's please read the play first, or if you can't read the play, read 20 pages of the play first, and then talk to people about it.
I think a lot of this stuff is completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Just base it on the work. That's all that you need.
Yeah.
We don't have an application or anything. We don't ask questions. It's we're accepting submissions.
Here's the play. Send
us what you
Here's
got.
The script.
Here are the guidelines. 10 to 30 pages, no more than this many minutes, or at least no more than this many minutes, and then here's the definition of noir. And it's not, if you don't know what noir is, think Dashiell Hammett, think Raymond Chandler, think James M. Cain, think Maltese Falcon, Double Indemnity, Femme Fatale, hard-boiled detective,
I love that. I wish that people would be like, okay, here's what we're looking for, and here are examples of it. Club Thumb does that actually. Club Thumb has like an application where they're like, you know, here's an opportunity for a commission, and we want a play that is a Club Thumb play. And if you don't know what a Club Thumb play is, here are like 10 examples, or here's the link to the last 12 things that we produced. And I think that's really helpful, because if you're paying attention, then you know that your play is a good fit or not.
Sure.
Or maybe you don't know for a fact, but you suspect it might be, then it's worth it. But if you know that it's not a good fit, then you cannot waste your own time, and you cannot waste the institution's time.
But that's my thing. It's like, if because you think it's a good play, and yet it's not noir.
Yeah.
I don't care how good it is.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But I also, by the same token, I think, like, because you think that your mission is really important as an institution, that you want your playwright to be able to write a 5-sentence tribute to your mission and how they fit into it. I think that's unnecessary too. Like, it's the playwright that fits best into your mission may not be able to articulate that in that format, and maybe better than a playwright who can articulate it, but it's not true.
I don't understand places that request an artist statement. Yeah.
I think artist statements have a place, but it's not, I don't think it's applications.
Sure. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So fees.
Sorry? Fees. Horrible.
So why?
I don't apply to things that have fees. I just straight up don't apply unless they can give me a fee waiver.
So here's the reason why I'm asking. Mm-hmm. So everybody, all these playwrights seem to think it's, I'm not, I shouldn't have to be charged.
Yes. Right. I do think that. I understand that it's not free. I understand that people need to be paid to read the plays.
It's not even so much that.
Yeah.
Nobody will hesitate to pay $65 to have their screenplay read. It's not going to get produced.
I would absolutely hesitate.
Exactly, but how many screenwriters they'll submit to a festival, and we're talking like anywhere from like $30 to $75.
I think it's ridiculous.
I
think that's ridiculous.
So I'd much rather pay $10 to $15 to have my play read in hopes that it's going to get produced, because at least I'm getting something out of it.
Are you getting something out of it?
All right, let me ask you this.
How many of those plays get, like, you pay $10 to $15?
Sure.
And one of those plays gets a reading and maybe gets produced.
No. See, we don't do readings.
Okay.
We do a 4-week production of Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. Great. Now, that's wonderful.
Now, I don't charge for Play Noir.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, the other thing, here's another example that I would say when it comes to...
You're asking me which is the lesser evil.
I'll give you one that's a lesser evil.
If you're saying the lesser evil is to pay $10 to $15 to get your play read versus $75 to have your screenplay read.
Yes.
But it's a false dichotomy. No one should be paying to have their work read. Period. The end.
Yes and no.
Okay.
I think it depends. I think it depends on the amount of submissions that you're getting. If you're getting 2,600 submissions, then by golly, that's worth $10 in my mind.
Because you're getting 2,600 submissions?
It's a lot of reading to do.
Right, but I don't think that we should put the cost on the playwright. Like, yes, you need to pay readers to read those scripts.
And where does that money come from?
You have an institution that has donors.
Fingers crossed you have an institution. Now you're looking at a nonprofit that's getting donations. But if you're looking at a company that doesn't have the overhead or doesn't have the capital, they're already going to be paying $4,000 or $5,000 to produce the play over the span of 4 weeks.
Where are they getting the $4,000 or $5,000 to produce the play?
Now I'm not saying, well, that comes out of my pocket.
Okay, well that's a completely different situation, isn't it? Though, because if you have first of all, if you have the money, if you have $4,000 or $5,000 to produce a play, I don't know why you need $100 to read 10 plays. I
read a lot more than 10. No, I'm not saying I agree with you.
But you're saying it costs $10 per submission. That's where I came up with $100.
If I were to go that way, yeah, sure.
So for each play that you read, you've paid yourself $10.
Yes.
And then you have 150 submissions.
Yes.
And you've made $1,500.
Yes.
And then you're out $5,000 producing the play.
Fingers crossed not.
Does that make you feel better that you got $1,500 to start with? Like, I don't know what that's giving you.
Maybe it gives me the opportunity to have better tech, have better props, have better lighting.
By charging playwrights that you didn't produce.
There's time that goes into it.
Right.
Do you think that
the people that are then paying for your props are the playwrights that you did not choose for the production?
I understand. I get no, these are great because again, I'm not saying I agree with it.
No, totally.
Yeah,
and I love to argue. I'll go.
Yeah.
I'll continue.
Yes.
Please tell me what. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can agree with that. Now, the one thing that I will never do, and I never recommend, I will always tell everybody, is at least if you're going to have the chance to get produced, it might be worth it. The one thing I would say never to do is submit to something where there's a cash prize.
Why?
Because guess where that cash prize is coming from?
So playwright submissions. So
The playwrights that didn't win the cash prize,
Right.
And
It's
you're not
like
even going to get the full cash prize of what, like,
It's
hypothetically.
gambling. It's gambling. It's let's all put $10 in, and the winner gets all of it.
If they're lucky, because most likely it won't be all of
Right.
it. It's
Okay.
probably going to be half of it.
Right. So you're talking about a cash prize in a submission where, again, you're charging playwrights to submit.
Exactly.
Okay, because there are cash prizes in things where the playwrights are not charged to submit, and those are very worth your time because you might actually if you get a cash prize, you could not take an extra shift and spend that time writing.
Okay, I like that. Now let me ask you this: Would you rather have a cash prize or a 4-week production?
Why is this an either or? I don't understand.
Because here,
It's
hypothetically,
such a false dichotomy. There are so many opportunities. I would love a cash prize from this thing, and then a 4-week production from somebody that can give me a 4-week production.
but you only have
people are not the
$20.
same.
You only have $20.
I have $0. I'm not spending any dollars on a submission.
Hypothetically, if you have $20 and you can only choose one, and it's going to be a cash prize.
Hypothetically, if I have $20, I'm buying myself lunch.
Fair enough. Okay.
I'm being so real. Like, I think it is like morally wrong to charge people to maybe get your resources.
What if that $20 was not lunch, but rather a 18-pack of beer?
I don't understand. What's the question?
Well, I mean, maybe they have to forego an 18-pack, but they're going to spend that $20 on a play submission.
I'd love to have a beer in the evening. Like, why am I...
A beer, not an 18-pack.
Okay, but that's 18 days of beers. That's 18 days of, like, let me come home after working, a job that I don't want to be working because no one's paying me enough to be a playwright. And I want to relax and have a beer. Let me have a beer, and then don't charge me to maybe give me resources that you are going to give someone either way, and my paying $10 isn't going to offset that in any meaningful fashion.
Does she always win?
No.
Oh, okay. Good.
So saying it.
I don't know if that's true. No.
I'm glad we had this because this is the most in-depth we've got into this topic. So, it'll...
Oh, great. This is like my personal vendetta in the theater. Is like, I want theater companies and institutions that have resources for theater artists to fund those applications in a different way.
Fair enough.
And ask fewer questions, which will help them because it'll take less time to read my application.
Yeah.
If you don't ask me meaningless questions.
I like it. I already know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyways.
I love it.
What are you working on right now?
I'm working on Neha Neel, or Neha or Neel in Hindi, at Artists at Play.
Wonderful. And we will include the ticket link below for those of you that are in LA that can come see this play.
Please come. It's October 18th we open, and we run until November 16th, I believe.
Wonderful. And then outside of this particular production, what else are you working on right now?
What else am I working
Did you
on?
have you sitting down to write anything?
The next thing that I'm hoping to focus my energy on is a history play, and I won't say too much about it because it's very fresh in my mind, but about this Supreme Court case, U.S. versus Bhagat Singh Thind, who sued for citizenship and lost.
Okay, wow. All right.
Yeah.
then where can people find your work? And not necessarily the stuff that's, well, obviously we know at...
Yes, right, yeah, right here in LA at LATC, but also I'm on New Play Exchange, so you can find me there.
Right.
I'm in New York. I did a show in February, March in Minnesota at Theater Moo in the Twin Cities, and I really loved working there, and so I hope that you can find my work again in the Twin Cities, because it was a really lovely experience. And then anywhere that anyone's willing to have me. I hope here in America, in India, in the UK, I'd love to be anywhere. So I hope you find my work all over. But for now, yeah, New Play Exchange is the best place.
And the final question, are you on the socials?
I am on the socials. I'm on Instagram, Ankita Writes, Ankita Writes. And
With
that's
an
how
Rights? Because you're always right in arguments?
What a great question. No, Writes. I always spell my name because I'm in the habit of doing that whenever I order a coffee or have to tell someone my name over the phone. My name isn't Ankita, it's Ankita, Ankita.
Well, Ankita?
Ankita.
Exactly what I was going to say. Thanks for coming on to this episode of Playwright Spotlight.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Playwright Spotlight. Again, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and share the show with a friend. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, be sure to leave a 5-star review and subscribe to the channel. And in the meantime, and until we see each other again, keep writing.